Hi, Karen and Simon from I Do Canals. Today we're at Blisworth Tunnel.
Blisworth Tunnel is on the Grand Union Canal, about halfway up from where the canal meets the River Thames, way down south. And a little bit just down here is the beautiful and stunning village of Stoke Bruerne and the canal basin,
where there is an amazing Canal and River Trust museum.
What else have we got along the way?
There's lots of floating shops up there.
Some really cool floating shops which we're going to go and see. I think we've got Jan and Alan. We're going to go and talk to them a little bit later on the way back up. They're really smashing. It's a new section that we're adding to our website, idocanals.co.uk, and it's called Traders Afloat. So these are going to be amongst the first few people that we're going to add onto there. So I think we should go. By the way, I need to explain. Karen is sitting on my knee because she didn't want to get a cold bum sitting on this large concrete ring. So why don't we stand up for just a second and turn around and we'll look at the ring. This ring is what they used to repair their tunnel with. Because when the tunnel was built, it was just brickwork, right? Big archway like this with what they call a saucer-shaped bottom, right? Kind of like that. And we're going to look at these in there, in a tunnel, through our passage that we made. When was that? In February.
Back in February.
And we're on a boat called Peggy, which we'll talk about later on. Let's go up Stoke Bruerne.
Come on then.
Fantastic. So this is the entrance to Blisworth Tunnel. It's 3,075 yards long. That's almost 1.75 miles. It is the longest and widest wide beam tunnel in Europe. Quite calamitous during its building. The first contractor, which took 3 years to build, built it with quite a nasty little wiggle along the tunnel, and they had to stop and start again. The finished result was absolutely brilliant. It was beset with leaks, as a lot of tunnels are. The first tunnel where the wiggle was collapsed, and I believe 14 men lost their lives. Quite tragic. It wasn't uncommon for the navvies to come to harm and lose their lives in the building of tunnels and other structures on the canal network. We went through here in February, and we got a little bit wet. There's a few bits where there's water cascading down through the air vents, and there's a little bit of a wiggle as we went through because I was trying to film something with my phone and made a hash of it, and we bumped the wall. But why don't you watch our journey now? Our journey through Blisworth Tunnel last February took almost half an hour. We have sped up much of the video, only slowing back to normal speed when there's something of interest to see. As we enter the tunnel, you can see that the lime deposits along the left-hand side and the roof are green, and they're coloured by algae, as it's still within the light. As we go past the light, the algae disappears, but the lime deposits do not. You see them at irregular intervals throughout the tunnel wherever there is a water leak. You can see some of the air shafts as you go through the tunnel, and these were from the original alignment shafts that were dug from the surface down to the current level. You can see the tunnel end in the distance. There are water leaks throughout the tunnel. Some of them are of quite a considerable flow coming out of the walls. There are rusty water deposits caused by the amount of iron in the ground above, which rusts in the almost constant flow of water. Here are the concrete rings. We saw one of these at the beginning of the tunnel. They form about 1/3 of the tunnel length in all. Despite the fact they've only been here since 1984, look at how much lime deposits there are. This is where we bumped the boat. I was trying to video something on my phone, I don't remember what, but listen, just like driving a car, you shouldn't try to use a phone. Tunnelling work began in 1793, but as I mentioned earlier, mistakes by the contractor left a wiggle in the tunnel. After 3 years' work, it collapsed because of quicksand, claiming the lives of 14 men in the process. It was then decided to begin again with a new tunnel in 1802 at the current site of today's tunnel. The tunnel is about 143 feet below ground level. A really clever method was used to dig the tunnel. A line was laid out using Stoke Bruerne Church as a marker, and about 20 shafts were dug down, and then using plumb lines hung from the top of each shaft, the correct direction for digging the tunnel was achieved. In the digging of the second tunnel, at least 4 men lost their lives during the dark and dangerous work. By the time the rest of the Grand Junction Canal had opened between London and Braunston in Northamptonshire in 1800, with the exception of crossing the River Grey Ouse near Newport Pagnell, the section of the canal from Blisworth to the lower end of Stoke Bruerne Locks was the only unfinished section. This was despite the tunnel having been under construction for 7 years. The gap was filled by a temporary horse-drawn tramway over the top of the hill, with goods being transported from boat to wagon and back again, rather like at Cairnhill Locks on the Kennet and Avon Canal. The original construction was done at a time before steamboats. Powered boats were later used to pull boats and barges through. However, they used coal to heat the water and to make the steam to power themselves. Some of the original alignment shafts were reopened and used as ventilation shafts. The tunnel was awarded a Transport Trust Red Wheel in recognition of its industrial heritage and importance on the 22nd of August 2014, which was the 30th anniversary of the reopening of the tunnel in 1984. The Red Wheel is on the Blacksmith's Forge in Stoke Bruerne at the South Portal, where we did our introduction today. Before boats were powered, the only way to get your boat through a tunnel was by legging. 2 men lay across a plank and walked the boat through. Blissworth Tunnel took about an hour and a half and a lot of effort. Now it's time to go back to Stoke Bruerne along the towpath and have a look at all the other interesting items we've seen. As we walk back along the towpath to Stoke Bruerne Basin, we meet Jan from Nancy May Crochet and Alan from Star Crafts, who are both trades afloat. So this is Jan from the Drifter. Jan, tell me what it is that you do.
Oh, hi, my name is Jan. I live aboard Narrowboat Drifter, and this is my trade store. We have a trader's license, and I crochet my little socks off. And I'm also a photographer, so anything that I see along the waterways that that my interest is piqued, then right. So I'll photograph.
I had a look at some of the photography. It really does very, very nice. We're going to get a nice little close-up of some of that in a moment or two.
Great.
Tell me, have you got a Facebook or a website or anything like that?
Yeah, I do. So I'm on both Instagram and Facebook with Nancy May Crochet.
Nancy May Crochet, we'll put it in the description as well.
So Nancy May was born of my grandma. So my nan had the name Nancy May.
Wow.
And so I named my little floating business after her.
Fantastic.
But so it keeps me busy. It's enough to make a small living from.
Good for you.
And we are members of the Roving Canal Traders Association, which allows me to go to
I'm aware
festivals
of that.
And markets and all
Well, with
all
your
sorts of
permission, we'd
things.
like to add you to our website, idocanals.co.uk,
Yeah, that'd be great.
under our brand new category, Traders Afloat.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And you'll pop up on the Grand Union Canal. Are you always here or do you move about?
No, we move around. So we're just here for the weekend.
So what we need you
with
to do is to
friends.
keep us in touch as to where you are, and we'll move your location around the canal so people can come and find you. So on here I can see your website, nancymaycrochet.co.uk.
That's right.
And your email is shop@nancymaycrochet.co.uk.
Correct.
Now there's a mobile number there. Is it okay to read that out?
Yeah, that's
so
fine.
So it's 07715 929044.
Yep.
Cool? Absolutely fantastic.
Wonderful.
Jan, lovely to meet you.
Yes, and
I
you.
hope you have a great day. The weather's pretty nice.
Nicer than it was yesterday.
Yes, we were going to come here and film yesterday. The weather was. We decided we'll change. We'll come today. It looks much better today.
Yeah.
Pleasure to meet you. Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks very much. Great.
Alan, this is your boat, the Nebulae.
Yeah, it is. This is our 1935 riveted iron butty. It's now become our workshop. We've got our motorboat there, Adjusteer, which is a small woolwich replica. So it's a 2006 build, Roger Farragut in Braunston.
Okay.
We live on that, and we ended up getting a butty to pair with it because Nikki, my wife, who's gone a bit shy at the moment, hobby is sewing, as you can see.
It's an impressive display.
To house it all, yeah.
You told me early on, 6 sewing machines inside.
6 sewing machines in there. She's got a big embroidery machine.
You haven't got a little sweatshop in there of like,
that's what she's got out there. She hasn't got time, yeah.
What?
She hasn't got time now. She's in there busy. Yeah, she does that, and she's got a big industrial machine for doing the canopy repairs. You know, your crash covers on the front of your boat.
Really?
Windows,
wow. No, that's interesting.
Repairs. She does all of that sort of stuff, yeah. In fact, that boat right over there, which I know you can't see on the camera, he's about to take that off and bring it around here for repair. So, yeah, that's what we do, yeah.
Absolutely awesome. And you do, what is it else you do? You boat safety scheme examiner as well?
Boat safety scheme examiner as well, yeah, just qualified as doing that, yeah.
Wow. And so you're mobile, you're on the network, you go all the way around?
All over.
So when we put you on our website, I Do Canals, we'll give you an email address to notify us where you're going to be. Yeah, and we'll simply change your location on the canal map, so it'll pop up wherever you are.
Well, in the summer, we get going with this, you see, we do all the festivals, so we go all round. I know we're at Norbury, up Shropshire Union Canal, for the bank holiday at the beginning of May.
We know Norbury.
Yeah, Norbury
We had
Wharf.
a boat out there last year, Norbury Wharf.
Yeah, David Ray's place up there.
Phoenix, we took Phoenix out of Norbury Wharf, yeah.
Yeah, so that's where our year starts next year. And I'm not sure after that, because till January, the festivals don't really get announced and take bookings.
Do you do crick?
No, we don't do crick, because crick's different. We're sort of more towpath trading.
Okay.
Roving canal traders, you know, crafting and one thing and another. Crick's more, it's commercial, isn't it? You know, it's your hire boats and your
I have yet to go to Crick Festival. I've just seen photographs of it, so I know not enough to really talk about it. But that sounds really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good show. Don't get me wrong, but it's not what we're about. We're just sort of more on the towpath trade.
You've got to go where you absolutely. Yeah. So how long have you been doing it?
Trading 2019 was our first year of trading. Bought the butty in 2018.
And then COVID will hit you.
Yeah, exactly. Got a feel for it. COVID hit us.
Nightmare.
Just dead. Oh. Managed to do a little bit, and then this year, so the summer just gone, is our first proper year of trading.
Have you had a good year?
Yeah, brilliant.
Good for you.
Festivals are good. Yeah,
absolutely phenomenal.
People come out. Yeah. So yeah, that's it really. We've repainted the boat since we've had it, put it into our livery and paired it up with a motorboat. Onboard generator for power solution, batteries. Obviously the sewing machines take a bit to run, don't they?
I'll bet.
Yeah.
I don't suppose you can get 12-volt sewing machines, can you?
No.
So they're full willy.
They're pretty good though, because they're inverter motors now, so they're not very power hungry.
Oh, I better not show my wife. You've got like trolleys of sweets and all sorts.
Yeah, we do all the fudge. We do retro pick and mix. Got blackjacks up there. Look, fruit salads.
She's over there grinning. Look.
Old school stuff.
Sweeties.
Yeah. She'll be filling them welly boots.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Alan, been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Anytime.
I'm going to take a few more shots of what you've got here.
Yeah.
And I'm absolutely terrific. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Cracking. We were here in February. Do you remember?
We were. We're on Peggy.
Peggy.
Yeah.
Where did we get Peggy from?
Clifton Cruisers.
Clifton Cruisers in Rugby on the Oxford Canal. We were told that Peggy was a 60-foot boat. And we didn't know how wide a boat you could turn here. And we didn't have time to go down the locks and turn around and come back again. So the other side of Blisworth Tunnel, we phoned the Canal and River Trust Museum here. And they said, you'll get a 60-foot boat round with a pinch. They were right about that. However, how long was our boat?
61.
61 feet, not 60. So we got to here and we couldn't turn. We were this much too long. Ridiculous. So we had to go backwards, all the way back to the winding hole near Blisworth Tunnel. And once we got past the moored up boats, Karen was at the bow, I was at the stern, on shore with a rope apiece, walking our boat at tick over the half mile all the way back. And that boat had a mind of its own, didn't it?
Like this!
It was so tricky, it was so difficult. And we weren't experienced enough to steer it backwards all the way. I think it would have taken us a week to do it. It was an experience, wasn't it?
Experience I don't want to do again.
No, I don't want to do that again. I wish we'd got that on video, because that would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, so over here, we've got the boat inn, which is in the basin. And just the other side of the bridge, we're going to go and have a look there in a minute, we've got the navigation. They're both really good pubs. We know of this one by reputation. We've been in here, we've eaten in here, twice at least, because we moored up here for the night. We had some good scoff in here, and we had some breakfast in there. It was really, really good. We're going to have a little look at the museum, and hopefully they'll let us take a camera around. If they won't, we'll just talk to you about it. But now we're going to have a little walk about the basin. We'll have a look at a few things, and so let's fill the day out. This is a lovely site. A lot of these boats are nice, old, original boats, all restored. Over the far side we've got Sculptor, which is part of the Grand Union Canal Company Limited. Don't know about this boat here. Beyond there we've got Nebulae, which is owned by Alan and his wife, and their Starcraft, their lovely craft shop boat. And this boat that's coming through looks like it's not an original one, but it's still a beautiful looking boat. This is how it would have looked back in the day. This basin would have been full of boats, traversing back and forth, taking their cargoes, Birmingham to London, Coventry, etc. Milton Keynes all the way down there as well. What a sight it would have been. So the boat coming in now is Pasadena. It's owned by Ian, and it was built in 1991. He lives aboard lots of the time, but not all of it. How long is your boat, Ian?
62 foot.
62 foot, Pasadena. And who did you say built it?
It's a Les Allen and Son.
Les Allen and Son.
They call them Les Allen, but they were built by Les Allen or Les Allen and Son. Yeah, it was. I think Les Allen died late 60s, but then I think the sons and a couple of others made Les Allen and Sons, and they carried on the tradition of it. And they were.
And did you say that Pasadena is 1991?
1992.
1992. This is Lock 15, and it's the second from Stoke Bruerne Basin. Behind me was the canal agent's cottage, and it was designed by the Grand Junction Canal engineer Thomas Milner. The chimneys, the elaborate chimneys, are a trademark of the Grand Junction Canal. Back in the 1930s, this was getting so busy, they dualled the locks. They built another set of locks to speed up traffic. It didn't last very long because of the railways. As always, the railways, they overtook the canals, and the canals went into demise. Very sad. Because all there is over here now is a depression in the ground, and there looks like a bit of a remnants of a lock gate. There isn't much left. The top lock up here, which we're going to have a little look at shortly, the dual lock is still there, and it looks like now it's a dry dock. I did read somewhere that it was also a boat weighing system. I think when boats were going up, they would go in there and weigh them. I don't know which one is correct. If you're watching this video and you know, would you please add that into the comments, because that's some information I'd like to find out for sure. I've got two stories and I don't know which one's right. Anyway, let's have a look at this depression. So this is the depression. You can't really see on camera, but trust me, it's about 10 inches higher than it is there. And it's not for a whole lock length, so, you know, presumably they filled it in better at either end. And there's this wooden structure here, which looks like it might have been part of a lock gate. There's nothing else that remains. There's some old masonry here. It's not really easy to see what it was. But like a lot of canals, they were really, really busy. And by dualling the locks, there will have eased the amount of traffic they could have sent through. The Grand Union Canal, or the Grand Junction Canal as it was then, was a wide beam canal. So barges went through. Narrowboats of 6'10" weren't profitable enough. So imagine 2 sets of wide beam locks. So that's either 2 barges through at once, or 4 narrowboats, or a mixture, you know. Anyhow, let's go. These boards can be found alongside quite a lot of the locks here at Stoke Bruerne. And I won't spoil it for you because there's lots of little clues and things on here and stuff to, well, there's the giveaway, clues. But at least this one, I'll talk about that one. Those are the distinctive chimneys, which are a trademark of the Grand Junction Canal. Once you've come down and you had a look at this and have a look at the boards on the other locks, the navigation pub is that way, 50 yards, and just the other side of the bridge, you've got the boat. Both of them do scoff. We've been in the boat, we haven't been in the navigation, but that could happen later. So when you look at this, at first it looks like a lock. But these contraptions here are clearly not of a lock, are they? Now, I did read somewhere that this was used to weigh boats. Presumably they'd know what an unladen boat weighed. And then, of course, if they weighed it, they could subtract that weight from whatever they measured, and thereby charge an appropriate toll. No idea about this boat in here. I'll try and get some information. It's a little tricky. It looks like an old butty, but it's very hard to tell. Probably used for carrying coal or stone or something like that. If you're watching and you know, put it in the comments. I've really enjoyed our day in Stoke Bruerne, have you?
I have. Stoke Bruerne is one of my favourite places. I love the fact that the canal runs through the centre of the village.
It's a lovely village as well. It's all oldie worldy thatched cottages, and it's just a pretty little place to come and visit. Even the boat inn is a thatched roof. We've seen it's getting a new thatch, haven't we?
Yeah.
Well, we met some really nice folks today. We met Alan, we met Charlotte, we met Jan, all traders afloat. And they all move around the canal network doing their thing. I think that's a fascinating way to live, isn't it? You know, it's really good.
Yeah.
Oh, and Ian, who went through on the Pasadena, through the lock just now, he lives most of his life aboard the boat, but he looks after somebody who can't live aboard. So some of his time is spent off. But we have enjoyed it. We couldn't film inside the museum. They wouldn't let us. Why wouldn't they let us?
Privacy.
Privacy, because just folks walking around,
folks.
You know, and we get that. We understand. We've been in there. It's 3 floors of museum, and it's just about canals, the making of them, canal life, the demise, the resurrection, all of that. And I think one of the things that fascinated me the most was that cabin from a canal narrowboat, where how many people lived in that?
Families of 10, but they ate, they slept, and they washed.
10 people in this diddy little cabin. What if you'd had beans for dinner? I mean,
sleeping outside.
That would have been a niffy night. Dear me.
No,
I mean,
no.
When you look at them, you think, one person, that's about as much space as you'd want for one, but a whole family. And they lived their lives aboard these boats and travelled the network, ferrying cargoes back and forth.
But that's what they were used to.
Absolutely. They were very, very hard working. They worked, as long as it was daylight, they worked. And they worked really hard.
Yeah.
It was a tough life, really tough life.
Very tough life. And they didn't live very long either.
Well, I don't think they led the most healthiest of lives.
No.
You know,
No.
quite a bit of drinking, beer in every pub, and smoking was...
Not a good diet.
Oh, it kind of sounds like you and I.
I think our diet's a lot better than them days.
Anyway, listen, we hope you've enjoyed watching our video. What do we want them to do?
I'd like them to press the like button.
The like button, excellent. And subscribe to our channel. New videos coming soon. Not sure next week if we're doing Duke's Cut, which is where the Oxford Canal links to the River Thames, or we're going to do the Hatton flight of locks at Hatton, just a little bit south of Birmingham. One or the other, weather permitting, we hope. It's been good today, isn't it?
It's been good but cold.
Yeah, it's good but cold. Now we're going to go over to the boat inn. We're going to have some scoff. Poor Dominic, our youngest son, he's been lugging the camera around, pushing buttons on and off, and with great patience. And if we don't feed him soon, I think there's going to be a riot. So thanks very much for watching, and bye-bye. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.